Long time no see, guys. I think that you had just finished watching that video and submitting that assignment. So anyways, let's get into what we're going to do today. So first things first, we're going to stick with the page that we're currently on in our ebook, and I hope that you guys are continuing to work together with the group that I gave you on Monday. But now we're going to look at problems 1-3 through 1-8 in the textbook. We're just going to kind of go through it linearly. So first things first, we just finished working with some function machines. You've seen what they look like. You get what we're doing with the inputs and outputs. So now you're given 4 different relations and then asked a couple of questions about how to organize those function machines to get a specific output in the end. So again, part A is in what order should you stack the machines so that when 15 is dropped into the first one and all 4 machines have had their effect, the last machine's output is -6. So you're given 4 equations. Each of those equations is going to be like the process inside of the machine. You're taking that starting input and you're going to run it through all 4 machines in whichever order you deem fit to get to a desired outcome.
So real quick, guys, what I want you to think about is, what will the output be for each function? When you're plugging in the input to start 15, is the answer going to be positive or negative, bigger or smaller? What do you need to do to turn 15 into -6? And just think about it logically and work it through.
So like I said, guys, we want to kind of take a look at a certain equation, pick it, plug our input in for all 4 of the different equations, and see which one makes the most sense. So we're going to take our 15 and plug it in to the function machine, and I plugged it into the y equals -2x plus 34 first, and we found one of the answers is too high, one of them was too low, and the other ones were pretty close to that end output of 6. So if that's our end goal, we should pick one of those, and I went ahead and chose y equals -2 times 15 plus 34 equals 4. So with 4 being our new output, from that equation is going to be our input for the next equation. And now I have 3 different functions to choose from. So we have y equals -4/3 minus 10. I already don't like that. Then we got y equals negative the absolute value of 3 times 4. And then we have y equals 4 minus 2 squared. So when we go to solve it and take a look, I already don't like the -4/3 because that doesn't give me a whole number, so I'm just going to avoid it at all costs. And then I get outputs of -12 or of just 4. So with that last one, it stays the exact same. -12 is lower than 6, but plugging 4 into that third function, we stay the same. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that, and I'm going to get y equals x minus 2 squared is our second function. Now, taking a look, I've got an output of 4, which is going to be our input for that third function. And that third function, I've already filled it in there for you, is y equals negative absolute value of 3x. But off to the right, when we plug it in, and we do negative absolute value of 3 times 4, go ahead and fix that right quick, we are going to get that y equals -12. But then since 4 was my input, again, so moving forward with our new output of -12, we go to plug that in and we get y equals -12/3 minus 10, which is 12/3 minus 10, which is 4 minus 10, which is -6. And then we know that we've got the correct output and we are good to go. Now, for part B, which order is going to result in an output of 2 if we start with an initial input of 8? So now you should use the same strategy as before. We're just starting with an input of 8 and ending with an input of 2. So based off of what you already know about whether or not plugging a number into a particular function is going to give you a positive or a negative number, you should make sure that you take a look at that to try and sequence your functions a little easier this time. Now that you guys have that done, go ahead and take an image or a screenshot or a picture of the work that you did on your notebook paper and submit those files as a photo in the associated Google form for the assignment. You guys take a look, go ahead and take a second to read through the notes for the definition of an absolute value. And then we got another practice problem with some function machines. So Angelica's working with function machines and she has 2 shown to the right. She wants to put them in order so that the output of the first machine becomes the input of the second one. She wants to use a beginning input of 6. So starting with an input of 6, in what order must she organize these two function machines to get an output of 5? For part B, is it possible for her to find an input that will get a final output of -5? And if so, how could she do that? If not, let me know why not. Small recommendation here. If you're looking for a final output of -5 at the end of both function machines, you may want to start with an input in the second function that results in -5 and just kind of work your way backwards. So similar skills are going to be employed as to what we were doing earlier with what we're doing right now, but it's very important for you to start at the back, start at the output, and find what input would give you that output first. Now that you've finished up working on problem 1.4 and put your responses in the Google form, let's take a look at problem 1.5, letters A, B, C, and D. You're asked to solve and find the absolute value of either the integers or the expressions contained within them. So go ahead and do your best work for me and let me know what you get. Alright, now we've got a big one. We're going to take a look at this tile pattern for problem 1.6. So looking at the tile pattern, we see figures 1, 2, and 3. I want to make sure you guys work this out on a sheet of notebook paper. That way you can take a photo of your work and submit that as your response for this question. So for part A, sketch figures 4 and 5. So you have figures 1, 2, and 3. What's your best guess at what 3, 4, and 5 would look like? Now, part B, how does the pattern grow? So tell me about how we get from figure 1 to figure 2, or figure 2 to figure 3, or figure 3 to figure 4, and so on. What do you notice about the images that are presented? Now, for part C, how many figures are there going to be, or how many tiles rather, are there going to be in figure 0? So figure 0 is obviously coming before figure 1. How many tiles do you think that there would be and why? Let me know how. Alright, I agree with you. Problem 1.6 was a bit of a doozy. So now let's take a look at problems 1.7. I want you guys to work in your group on A through I, but I'm only requesting that you submit the responses to 4 of them in the associated Google form. And last but not least for the day, for each equation below, find y if x equals 2. So for A, B, and C, the value of x is 2. Substitute that in, solve for y, and let me know what you get. Thanks guys for tuning in today. I hope that you did your best work, that you persevered in your problem solving, and that you didn't give up on yourselves. I will have some solutions and everything in my announcement that I'll put out tomorrow morning, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Take care.